From Sunday's Boston Globe newspaper to his endorsement of Donald Trump to roads in South Carolina, former South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer speaks exclusively to me for the special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. Andre.
Hello, Quintin.
It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you, buddy.
We always see each other on North Market Street. I'm usually working at the deli and you're riding your bicycle after working hard, doing a lot of business around here. I'm wondering, how are you doing?
Life is good.
Yeah.
We live in the most magical city in at least the United States, maybe the world.
You're right about that. Unfortunately, I have to turn to some serious issues. Let's talk about the Boston Globe. The popular newspaper produced a satire article on its front page, I believe on Sunday, previewing a potential Donald Trump administration. But you weren't happy about that because you said the following on CNN, quote, "To me, it's exactly what they accused Donald Trump of. They are trying to invoke fear. The liberal media has now done exactly what they say he does. They say he incites fear. They make people concerned." And I'm wondering, as we sit here right now, Andre, what really does the media do or really invoke as far as fear is concerned in your mind?
Well, what they did was they took a newspaper, what looked like a newspaper article from a Donald Trump presidency, and made everything doom and gloom. Deportation, trade agreements, how we were respected with the rest of the world. And if it's political satire, it's one thing in the cartoon section, but this was made to look like a front page newspaper, and basically it was to persuade people to scare you into not voting for Donald Trump, which is what they condemn him for, saying he scares people, uses fear to encourage them to vote for him. So it seems like they have a double standard. It's okay for them to use fear to talk people into not voting for him, but they condemn him for the same tactics. And so I just think that, if you have a double standard, it's a little different than if you call somebody out and say, here's why I disagree with somebody and why.
Right, yeah. Let's stay on Donald Trump. I believe you endorsed him after February 19th in Myrtle Beach?
It was before.
Okay. And you said the following to NBC News, quote, "More than any other candidate has tapped into the heartbeat of America." And I'm curious, what is the heartbeat of America in your mind?
Well, if you look at the people that are coming out in the primaries right now, the biggest turnout in the history of this state came out in the last Republican primary for president. Donald Trump got more of those votes than anybody. There's a large amount of people that don't have time to go to Columbia. They don't have time to write their elected official, but they're frustrated. They grew up in a time when Andy Griffith was the type of show you turned on TV. People had values. They had work. They had an ethic that said, I'm going to provide for myself and my family. I'm going to live within my means. I'm going to do what's right for my community. We have a different mindset now, so much in the media and in society. You see so many people that live off the government, where other people make such a sacrifice to take care of themselves and others in their community. You see, even this country, continue to help everyone around the world when we don't take care of our own veterans, people that we made a commitment to. You see a military that clearly is not the most powerful military in the world and revered as it once was. You see people running for president that say we've got to raise taxes on the rich people, and then they complain that the rich people are all leaving the United States. Well, I don't think you have to be overly knowledged in economics to go, if we're charging them this in taxes now and we raise the taxes, we're going to get more people to come in and pay them. No, you're going to get more people to vacate this country and move jobs overseas. Even the argument to say we're going to mandate $15 an hour jobs. That sounds great. But what you do is you reduce the number of entry-level jobs when you raise that rate, because people say, you know what, that college student I was going to hire, or that person that's really not trained for this job, but I can get them to that level, they're willing to hire somebody at $7, $8, $9 an hour. But at some point it becomes not worth the business person's expense to pay that. Or automation kicks in, and when you go to McDonald's or Burger King, you may not talk to a live person anymore. You may hit an automated machine. So much so, like you see with vending machines, and even a lot of the stores now have the drink where you do it yourself. They're cutting down on the number of employees they have. So people think it's great when politicians say, hey, I'm going to do this for you. And the first thing is they think, what does it do for me? But they forget what it does for the overall change in dynamics of the economy. Government shouldn't be involved in creating a minimum wage. It's not the responsibility of government in my mind. Market should drive that. And we don't want a ton of people graduating from college in only one field. The market drives it. If there's not enough nurses, well then they're going to pay more for nurses, and so more people go to nursing school. And so free market fix so many of these wrongs that government, a lot of times people that have never been somebody like a Bernie Sanders, has never had a real job, has been a politician all his life. And I'm not saying that's not a noble profession, but it's hard to understand when you pass the Dodd-Frank bill what it does to the small business owner that tries to get that loan, that has plenty of assets now but may not have the income stream that they want to see. Whereas they'll give money to somebody that has a job, they get a paycheck every month, but if they lose that job, they have no way to pay it. And so many times, people that think they know better than everyone else, especially people who've been in office a long time, tend to change laws that really hinder more than they help, and they sound good in theory.
Let's turn to President Bill Clinton. The former president took on some Black Lives Matters organizing protesters at an event in Philadelphia, I believe, last Thursday, over Hillary's support of a controversial 1994 anti-crime bill. Hillary allegedly said the violent gang members were, quote, super predators. Protesters at Thursday's event had a ban basically saying that Clinton crime bill destroyed our communities. President Clinton actually responded by saying this, quote, I don't know how you would characterize the gang leaders who got 13-year-old kids hopped on crack and sent them out on the streets to murder our African-American children. Maybe you thought they were good citizens. She didn't. You are defending the people who kill the lives you say matter. And I remember from just yesterday, you said on CNN that Bill Clinton was basically being honest. And I'm curious, how honest was he?
I think what you saw was a rare moment when Bill Clinton's emotions overtook how sharp of an elected official he was. Bill Clinton was one of the best on his feet in our time. But I think he spoke emotionally. And there's two different vantage points. If you're a minority, you look at this in the fact that minorities get arrested and put in jail more than whites for a very much similar crime. If it's crack, the penalty's vastly different than if it's cocaine. Almost the same drug, however. And so I can understand the resentment that a lot of minority communities feel because of this. And so there is a valid argument that we need to engage in this discussion.
Okay.
But everybody can't immediately get their feelings hurt when you engage in the discussion. And when you immediately say, well, he can't say that or you can't say that, I think this gave a wonderful opportunity for the Black Lives Matters and for other elected officials to now engage in the conversation. But immediately, everybody's scared to death of what they might read in the paper. And so we're not fixing the problem. Everybody's running from it. And so when you look at the devastation that happens on any given weekend in Chicago, for example, black on black crime,
Right.
it's mainly blacks. To continue to accept that, and it's accepting it if the elected officials serve that community don't address it, is devastating. It's sad. And it shows where we are in politics, where people are so sensitive to say anything political. I mentioned that yesterday on the air. Ask your favorite politician what their color is of choice. Half of them will say plaid because they're scared to make a decision on anything that might alienate somebody that didn't like he picked white instead of blue.
Okay. I want to take you from Washington to Columbia.
Okay.
Made in Gervais. There's a lot going on right there. So describe to me the following one word. Rolled in South Carolina. Rolled in South Carolina.
Well, that's more than one word.
Oh, please go for it.
Oh, you want me to give
Yes,
you one word?
yeah.
Needy.
The transgender bathroom bill.
Another interesting debate. The first question I would throw back, you'd say, how many people are affected by this bill? I just don't know anybody that said, I'm transgender and because of that I've got to be able to use the other bathroom. Number one, if they were dressed as a female and just went in there and used it, I'm not sure anybody would question it. But when we're spending this much time on this, when people are dying, people are malnourished, people can't get things done through the government, our people are dying on South Carolina roads, and we're worried about a bill that affects so few people. And quite frankly, there's a safety issue involved. And I actually mentioned it on Facebook, and immediately I had a few in the gay community, and it was no way, in any way, saying that I have any. It was just saying, look, how do police enforce this? If you're a child molester and you want to go in there under this bill, would you not be welcome to go in and use the woman's restroom? You know, where do you draw the line?
Let's turn to John Teckleburg, Charleston's new mayor.
Okay.
I know you are a huge supporter of his. How would you describe him right now as mayor?
I'm excited for him. It's a different point in time. We had a fantastic mayor for a lot of decades, and this is a new chance for for somebody with some fresh ideas to come in and move Charleston to even a greater level. I mean, all of us have new ideas, and no one person has a patent on all the great ideas. And so hopefully our new mayor will come in with some new improvements, whether it be addressing our road problem or traffic or tourism, or I'd still like to see somebody address these cruise ships. So there's a lot of issues on the table, and we are blessed that we have so many people coming here now that it will be at least something that we've got to talk about in the future to try to handle it.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of traffic, let's talk about the proposed Ashley River Bridge lane. I know you're a bicyclist,
I am.
and some people are opposed to that. So when you think of that, what goes to your mind?
Well, I can't imagine who'd be opposed to it other than how do you pay for it. I don't know why anybody'd be against it, but it seems like no matter what, people are against it anymore.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Alan Wilson versus David Pascoe. What do you think about all of that?
You know, Quintin, I hadn't spent any time in Columbia, don't pay attention much to the news anymore, and I hadn't really watched it. I really don't know all the different nuances that are involved. You know, I just have a basic 10,000 foot overview, and so I think in days to come, some of this will unfold.
Yeah, speaking of which, we talk about this all the time, and people ask me about this, but what's next for Andre Bauer? Will you go back into politics? Do you enjoy doing this, working on your businesses and working in the community?
Quintin, I'm having so much fun now. The one blessing I got out of being in elected office for so long was the networking. I got to meet so many wonderful people. And now I'm back in my birthplace.
Yeah, comfort zone.
My mom lives here, my sister lives here. I got a lot of friends here. I'm having a great time investing in real estate, and I don't want to close the door and say never, but I sure don't have the calling or the urge now.
Interesting. Okay. Well, former Lieutenant Governor Andre Bauer, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Quintin, thank you for having me as always, buddy.
God
God bless.
Likewise.